Hey everybody, Mature Simmer here. So welcome back to Reykjavik. So here for our next leg 9 of our world tour. So we're in for what I hope is a bit of a treat today, and that is because I am experimenting. So I don't know how well this is going to work, but basically we are going ahead and we're going to be trying to use the tour guide. So we're going to go ahead here and start our electronics up. And one of the first things we need to do is get the fuel selector set to auto. Turn this over here. We're going to want to get our propeller up to max and get ourselves moving along here as much as we can. So I have created through the tour tuner in SayIntentions what I hope is a tour that will at least give us a little bit of base information here. And so obviously we just need to get the plane going. So I'm going to work through that. Let's see, we'll get our trim set. Get our flaps down. Since we have some power, we should be good. Alright, we're going to get our ignition on. We're going to get our starter on. Just to be sure, again, we're going to get some fuel here. Alright, so at this point, once I get to 13, I can go to low. Once I get to 50, I can get all the way up. Alright, so that should get us where we need to be. We've got that. We're going to want the bleed set to auto. We're going to want air conditioning on. That's set to auto. Not going to get up very high, so we'll probably be good there. We're going to want to turn our radio master on. Get that on. Get our EFIS master on. Alright, and then at this point, I should be able to go up here, get our ignition set to auto, turn that off, get everything set. If we go to standby, generator's in good shape. We're going to want our nav and our strobe. Get all our gyro instruments on. And again, because we're down here, just going to get all of our de-ice and all of that running. I need to get my flight plan set. Haven't done that. Alright, so hopefully we're set there. We're going to import from a file. So BRAK to BINF. We should have 8 waypoints. This all looks good. So that is excellent. Wow. Are we that high up here? Interesting. Because, yeah, what I don't know, or again, maybe Iceland just has some high levels, but, alright. So we've got everything running. We want to get this to automatic instead of on, so it will do things as it needs to. We've got everything set. Everything's running. And again, it's a VFR tour, so we're not doing anything too crazy. And then I guess we'll set ourselves to 11,500. as the height that we want. Alright, so again, we need to get this to GPS so that things run across there. And 1021 is where we are set for the hectopascals. So we're set there. And we should be in pretty good shape. So if I do flight director, nav, yaw damper, that'll get us set there. Alright, let me try to get some stuff going with SayIntentions. Don't know exactly how it's going to work. Reykjavik, November 191, Mike Alpha, requesting VFR to Bravo, India, November, Foxtrot.
7, Romeo Charlie,
Cessna 427, Romeo Charlie, Reykjavik ground. Say again your request.
TBM 1 Mike Alpha. On departure, maintain VFR at or below 1500 feet. Departure on 119.0. Squawk 4744.
Maintain VFR at or below 1500 feet. Departure on 119.0. Squawk 4744. November 191 Mike Alpha.
Clearance to Bravo, Golf, Kilo, Kilo. Information Oscar on board.
TBM 1 Mike Alpha. Read back, correct.
Cessna Sierra, India Golf taxi to runway 1 via Alpha, hold short of runway 1. Contact tower on 118.0 when ready.
Alright, 4744.
Runway 1 via Alpha. 70. Take ground, Cessna 427, Romeo Charlie, 54 IFR clearance.
Cessna 427, Romeo Charlie, Reykjavik ground. I am working on that clearance. Stand by.
TBM 2 Charlie Papa is ready for taxi.
TBM 2 Charlie, Papa taxi to runway 19er via Hotel Echo. Hold short of runway 19er.
Alright, so we are identifying.
19er via Hotel Echo.
So we're going to switch to 119er.
4076. Man exact easy 1172. Spoken 4076 easy 1172. Do you have me on radar?
Sarah, what tours are in the area?
Not seeing you on radar. Verify squawk 4076 and ident, please.
In the area, we have a tour called Iceland Volcanoes and Glaciers. The first stop is Reykjavik, which is heading 100 degrees and about 5 kilometers away from here.
Cessna 427, Romeo Charlie, Reykjavik, approach identified. Fly heading 190 vectors to Adova, then own navigation.
Sarah, start tour 688.
Fly heading 190 vector to Adova, then on.
We're starting the Iceland Volcanoes and Glaciers tour. Our first stop is Reykjavik, which is just 5 kilometers away, heading 100 degrees from here.
Cessna 7, Romeo Charlie, pass your message.
Like to cancel
Sarah, I'd like a different tour.
Changing to visual flight to Cessna 427.
Cessna 7, Romeo Charlie, Roger. Radar services terminated. Squawk VFR.
Sarah, I'd like a different tour.
Cessna 7, Romeo Charlie, turn left heading 195. Cessna 7, Romeo
At your 3 o'clock, about 5 kilometers away, you'll see Reykjavik, the capital of Iceland. Founded in 17...
Sarah, please stop.
It's known for its colorful buildings and vibrant art scene. The city is home to the famous Hallgrímskirkja Church, which took over 40 years to build and is a stunning example of modernist architecture. Reykjavik is also a hub for aviation, with Reykjavik Airport serving as a key gateway for travelers heading to the stunning landscapes of Iceland. Fun fact, the city is named after the steam rising from hot springs in the area, which the first settlers found quite amusing.
Cessna 7, Romeo Charlie, Reykjavik Tower
Tour
on
canceled.
118.0. Good evening.
Sarah, I'd like to start tour ID 688.
Piper Foxtrot Sierra Kilo
Tour
November
ID
Reykjavik
688
approach,
is not
squawk
available in this
5625
area.
and ident.
Would you like to start Tour ID 359 instead? It's the Iceland Volcanoes and Glaciers Tour, with the first stop in Reykjavik, just 5 kilometers away, heading 100 degrees.
TDM 2 Charlie Papa, 2 miles from RKI 01. Turn right heading 09.
No thank you, I'll stick with the tour I have.
For the RNAV runway 1 approach.
Cleared for the RNAV runway 1.
Understood. We'll continue with the Iceland Volcanoes and Glaciers Tour. Our next stop will be Fitzurkur, which is about 176 kilometers away, heading 030 degrees from our current position.
Alright, so it's not quite working the way I thought, because our first waypoint's a long way away and there's something closer. So it thinks we're on this Iceland Volcanoes tour, which we're not. But it did give me the right location, so...
Cessna 427 Romeo Charlie Reykjavik approach. Not seeing you on radar. Cycle your transponder and identity.
So what I may do... I'm gonna go to CTAF. I'm gonna see if people actually maybe won't talk. Since we're VFR, we don't really need ATC. So I don't want to kind of muddy up the tour with all that back chatter. So at this point, we're gonna go ahead and release our brake, and we're gonna run out here. And we're just kind of going to pick a runway, because that's what we're going to do, because again, we're VFR, so... and a lot of the runways are kind of like right here. So... let's see. So I'm just kind of taking a peek of where I'm at here. Because I probably want to be on like 3, or maybe it's 0. Yeah, it's 0, 1, 0. So I think if I go right down here and follow this taxiway, that'll get me across runway 3, 1 is what we're doing. Let me get myself focused here, because obviously we can't hear what we're doing. Ground speed's pretty good, but yeah, we'll go down here to runway 01, and man, this thing is moving, I'll tell you that. But and that will basically get us heading in the northerly direction. But before we take off, I'll kind of share with you where we're going, what we're doing. You know, but it has it right that we're 176 kilometers away. Again, we're operating on miles, so that's one thing I might want to look at too, is can I change that? Although again, Iceland would be operating in kilometers if we're honest. So that might be partly why the tour is doing what it's doing, because it's like, yeah, you're here. Alright, so let me get that back. Now we're going to want landing lights on. We've got everything else on. Starters off. This, that, everything's good. So we should be set. So go ahead again. I'll zoom this out. Make this a little bit bigger. But that is what we are in store for. So we're heading up here. Waypoint 1. We've got the 8 waypoints. We're kind of crisscrossing Iceland, so we're going to get a nice view of things. Ending here at the airport, it's a little easier to come in off the water, is what they're suggesting. So rather than trying to dive in through the mountain valleys and stuff, which I've done in certain things, but again, I don't want to create a problem at the end, so we'll circle out over the water and come back in. It's going to add some time, but that's okay. Alright, so for now, I'm probably going to just leave it at that level of distance, because I don't really need to see specific things other than I'm getting close. But the big question is going to be, because Fitzcirker, or whatever it's called, and I think she said it relatively well, I mean, so, and good AI stuff, that does have some information, so that'll be really the first test. So Waypoint 1 and Waypoint 6 are the only ones that I've put anything in as far as a description, and I'll be curious to see if it uses it. But it may not, and this may not work as well as I'm hoping it will. But this was one of the things I wanted to try, because it was like, well, if I can make this work, it's just another cool reason to have some, say, intentions and pay for the service and so forth, because it might be able to do some really interesting things. Alright, so it's 551 nautical miles, so it's not as long as the last one. So again, hopefully we're a little closer to a couple hours. And since we've got a little ways to go, let's get up in the air, and then we'll let you know what we start with here. All right. So, say goodbye to Reykjavik. We'll get, by the time we're done in this flight, we'll be on the other side of the island. So again, since it's a VFR tour, I will keep the entire flight in the episode. Even if I end up not talking for portions of it, which I'm thinking will be the case, there should certainly be enough information to... Or there, you know, there's definitely going to be some stuff to view. So let's see. If we go there, we're on. It'll turn, and it should rise. Obviously, it's got to get enough speed so that it can do that. My biggest thing is I need some terrain. Hopefully, we won't have anything crash on us like it did for leg. I don't know if it was leg 8 or if it was something else, but either way, the red's going away, everything's going away, so I think we're good. Looks like we're going to turn a little bit that way, head along the edge. Let me get my flaps up, that will speed things up. And take a peek back at Reykjavik before we head out. So, you know, that's the airport there that we left. But right here on the coast of Iceland, and in theory, it should look a little bit better than Greenland. But we're heading over some water, and then we'll be overland. Really, most of the flight as we go. We'll obviously be turning around and crisscrossing, as you saw. But right now, so it's 95 miles. You can see we're down to almost 91 here. We're going to, again, adjust so that we can make some movements. So I'm going to back off on the throttle because I don't want to overspeed beyond the red, because that would be damaging. But we'll get up here. You should have a bar at the top that's giving you status, but it's going to be of kind of minimal use for these flights, because it doesn't... I don't think there's any way for me to get like the flight plan in there and show of the 551 nautical miles where we're at. But you know, you'll have an idea as we start slowly creeping in that direction. It'll be interesting though, since it only thinks it's a couple 100 miles, how the progress bar will work. If it'll just be like, oh, you've gone 200 miles, you're already there, or if it will be, you know, it'll show the distance, and because it can tell in the sim how far we are from the airport, that it'll use that. I would hope that would be the case. Alright, so I'm not sure I'm seeing that yet, so I'm going to keep climbing, probably to say, until I'm either clearly feeling that I'm not seeing things or not. I did see a note that Navigraph is now going to have an integration into the flight sim, which is pretty cool as we're coming up on Flight Sim 2024. So the brand ambassadors, I guess, for SimBrief or for Navigraph were had created a video, so I saw it from one of the individuals. I don't remember who, but I was just watching that. So it'll show up as a button in there and might give us some interesting capabilities. But yeah, at this point, getting up around 200 knots. Obviously, once we level out, we'll start going another 20 to 30 knots faster. But right now, I'm still not sure that I'm really clear of that space. So before we get on top of ourselves and have an issue here, what we've got, if you're new to the series, welcome. I encourage you to watch the others. You know, we're having a lot of fun here as we're traveling around the world, just seeing places we've never seen before. I'm going to kind of look out the window a little bit so that you actually see more than a cockpit, because that is not something we've never seen before. But obviously I want to keep pace with what I'm doing. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and level this out. So I don't want to change the height because I'm assuming I'm going to need that at some point. Because there are definitely some higher peaks, and I don't know if they're meters on the Navigraph. Can't imagine they are, because if they are, it's like 5,000, and that 5,000 meters would be like 15,000 feet, so I suppose it could be, but... Well, yeah, if I don't see anything here, we know we're more than 1,500 above, and that would be good enough. But the goal, again, it's a VFR series, so the goal is not to get insanely high. As always, I'm running Msfs map enhancement so that we're getting the best Bing imagery sent to us that we can. I was gonna say, why are the numbers changing? But now they've leveled out finally. So it probably took a little bit. It was climbing or something. But yeah, not seeing anything here, so I might be able to drop down a bit. But I don't know. So let's see. What if I just slowly decrease my height? Because if nothing else, we've got a valley kind of coming up for a little while. I think we're going to hit some hills about halfway, so maybe 30-40 miles away is the other side of the valley. So there you go. We're starting to get some green under us, so we're just about 1,500 feet above ground level as we pass over these. But I'm going to try, at least where I'm present and talking, to give you some outside views. It's been 3 really long legs. I mean, between them, I think they basically averaged 700 to 800 miles each. So we've had 3 legs of that length, and you know, so 2,000 miles of flying in the last 3 legs that were really point to point. And so it worked a little bit easier with the overlay, but obviously not so easy with anything else. Alright, let's level out. But if you're new to the series, basically this is a set of flight plans that is available on FlightSim.to. The link to them is in the descriptions of the videos. I try to put that in each time, so if you want to fly these yourself, you know, or fly along as I go along, and we're just flying kind of together in some way, you can certainly do that. You know, grab yourself a TBM 850 or a 930, which is what this was originally designed for, because the 930 is a base plane. Excuse me. That comes with Microsoft Flight Simulator, I believe, because I've certainly flown it. Where this is a payware aircraft that, just like I did, you'll have to go ahead and pay for. But what they've done is they've created, I think it's like 238 legs or something. I know it's over 200 legs to get you around the world. And if you know anything about geography, you know that the circumference of the Earth is about 26,000 miles. Well, the flight plans that this gentleman presents are about 113,000 miles. Yes, you heard that right. So basically between 4 and 5 times just flying straight around the Earth is what we're going to have. So that's why just going across took 2,000 miles, but we were going a little bit north, we were going a little bit east-west, a little bit south. Goodness, I'm like yawning every few sentences. I think I got enough sleep last night, but something's disagreeing with me. And so, not only is that interesting, but the thing that's cool is he provided a booklet. Well, it's not a booklet, it's a full book, because it's 248 pages, over 55,000 words of narration to basically give us a tour as we go around the world. And so that's part of the issue, is you obviously saw the flight plan here over Iceland. Like, it's clearly easier to just fly between Bravo India Romeo Kilo to Bravo India November Foxtrot, which is the airport we're going to on the other end, and we'd be there in less than half the miles. We'd be there in barely over 200 miles, and instead we're going to be doing 551 or so here. But that is so we can see some cool sights and so forth. So the gentleman is focused on history, is a World War II buff and things. So sometimes you'll hear a lot of things that are related to that. But what I tried to do with the tour guides is the things that describe what's at a waypoint. We're going to hope that Sarah can enlighten us here. So, but at this point, again, it's waypoint 1 and waypoint 6. And there's very little information that was provided, but I put in what was. And so what I'm hoping is not only will they tell us what was provided, but they'll be like, oh yes, in addition, there's this. And I doubt they'll say in addition, but they might, go ahead and just explain and give us more information. And then I'll be curious what happens at the other waypoints, where if I saw something nearby or that we were over, I did include that name for the waypoint, but there's nothing in the narrative that talks about anything but waypoint 1 that we're headed to, and then waypoint 6, which is going to be about between 100 and 150 miles from the end of our 8 waypoint plus obviously 2 airport journey. So what they have to start with is let's go sightseeing. This flight is a meandering tour across the beautiful island of Iceland as we make our way to the east side of the island to prepare for the next leg across the Norwegian Sea. We'll see farmland, fjords, glaciers, and volcanoes. And that is where I'll stop at this point, because then he begins to talk about waypoint 1. So we're going to go ahead and see what waypoint 1 has. I don't like when that sound happens, because I've never figured out why it does that. Because, yeah, it's something to do with this ITT thing. Like, it backed off. So I don't know if the engine gets, like, warm enough. But see, now it's creeping back up. But it just makes this weird sound. I don't know. Alright, well, the good news is, yes, the CTAF seems to be quiet. So at least we've solved that dilemma of what can I do to not have air traffic talking over me, because that's the issue. Like, I could stay on the frequencies and so forth, but then, I don't know what would happen. Alright, so it's telling me 90 kilometers in my SayIntentions instructions, or my tour. So if I pull that over, again, wrong tour name, so it should, so it's using something there, but I'm hoping, because it did pull this up, and I used my tour ID, that'll work. So Uh-oh. Please don't crash to desktop. Please don't do that. It might. Sometimes I've had it do this and then come back. So that's my hope. And I don't think dragging the window over was the problem. But yes, right now it's not doing anything, so this doesn't bode well. Shoot. Alright, it hung up for a very, very long time. But right now, it appears that it might be working again. I vanished off Navigraph. I've now reappeared on Navigraph when I hit the arrow again. SayIntentions thinks things are happening again. And then my FSLTL traffic injection is now putting new traffic in and so forth. So yeah, I guess we won't be putting the SayIntentions window up there again. I can't imagine that was really what caused the problem. We're clear here. We're going to be a little close to that peak, but not going to be a problem. Because yeah, I was starting to try to figure out, like, what am I going to do? I'll probably just put myself in mid-flight here. Because that's the benefit with this series is, like, if I am... you know, if I have to redo something or whatever, like, I can kind of jump in. I'm not flying for a VA where it's tracking my entire flight. But I will say, I am concerned that I've never really had crashes to desktop. And now I've had 2 this week. It's possible, because they did say the experimental servers for SayIntentions, like, there's stuff going on there. I mean, the one thing I don't have, let me look at my little nav map, and let me see. Yeah, there's one plane coming out of Reykjavik, but I don't even know that it's really the experimental traffic or not, because I may have that off, but I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see what transpires here and there. So, but right now, obviously, I guess I should probably stop hopping around from things, and then maybe maybe that'll help too. There'll be less of that going on. Because it could also be FSLTL putting traffic in. Not sure. Alright, so we're coming up 34 miles. So basically the geofence for these is about 3-4 miles. I think I put the waypoints in the right place. So that's going to be part of the challenge, I suppose, to figure out as we go. Because if I didn't, and I only gave, but I gave myself a diameter of like 2 or 3 miles, which should be like 10 kilometers or close to it. So, I was gonna say, for a while it had jumped from like 64 kilometers to 61 into my next stop, but then it was sitting there for a while, so I don't know how frequently that updates. But, you know, the difference is, and I think we talked about this on some of the Greenland legs, is, you know, the joke or whatever of the folks who discovered these locations, and I don't know if they were both Scandinavians, you know, Norwegians, Vikings, whatever you want to attribute it to. I don't know the history of who discovered both Greenland and Iceland first, other than the people living there, obviously, but we wouldn't have heard about them here in the West from them until we discovered them. They didn't come and discover us that I'm aware of. But, you know, so they call Greenland, which kind of implies that it's fertile and whatever, and it's basically a giant island of ice. And then Iceland, you know, kind of meant to maybe scare people away. While it does seem to have some ice, there's lots of green areas and so forth on the island, as we can see. I mean, again, it's probably certainly not lush and green, you know, it's not like flying over the Amazon or something might be, but it's not just a giant glacier like we were flying over in the last leg, as we were basically crossing Greenland to head over here to Iceland. But yeah, so what I want to happen is the tour guide to jump in, and then obviously I want it to say, hey, the next point is working, even though it thinks it's on the wrong tour. Because the other thing that I think might be happening is it may take a little while for me to be able to say, hey, use this tour, because the AI there might be something that seeds the information into the AI window. I mean, again, it is reading what I put in as my first stop, so it's getting something, but I don't know. Because normally what you can do is you can say, you know, ask your tour guide what tours are in the area, and so what I was hoping is it would list other tours that were around, but would also say, you know, the VFR Around the World Tour, or VFR TBM Around the World Tour. I don't remember how I've titled it. I suppose I can look here. Yes, it's VFR TBM Around the World, and then it's dash leg 1, whatever it is. So I've got leg 1 through 9. And so what I was thinking is, well, maybe it's taking a bit of time, and it needs a bit of time because I basically just created the tour in the tour tuner and then just jumped in the sim ready to go. And what I may want to do is like get these things done and published a few days early, and then see, you know, what happens there. But because the nice thing is, like, people can then download the flight plans of here, so all these waypoints and where I marked them would be placed in the system. You know, and the other challenge with this is the start and the end airports aren't really anything you can put commentary around, but sometimes in his narrative he is talking about those. Alright, so I guess we do get some CTAF, but I'll worry about it. If we get a ton of it, I guess I'll worry about it. But again, we're probably dealing with airports up here that are untowered. I know the one we're heading to is untowered, so you would use something like CTAF to just let other pilots know that you're in the area and what you're doing. So it sounded like someone was doing a touch and go at the airport, and we're at Sjaltabaki Airport. Again, I'm not Icelandic. I may be butchering the language or how you'd read any of these, but that's part of why I'm hoping that the AI will be like, oh yeah, I know how to pronounce that, because it has that added intelligence. But we're now just less than 10 miles away, and so in case it doesn't tell us, so since this is an experiment, I don't want to have it ruin the experience, because normally by now I'd be telling you what's coming up. So waypoint 1 is Fitzurker, a famous rock formation just off the coast. So that's what it has. And so we're heading here, and then we'll kind of turn around. but I'm kind of watching my SayIntentions thing, because again, we're 15 kilometers away, which I think is still too far. I mean, we are closing the distance. We're obviously doing fine. And this one I think I placed very close, if not kind of right on top of where it should have been in the original flight plans. But you can see this is our leg back out. So we're going to turn around and then head over to some waypoints, but those waypoints he has no narrative for until waypoint 6. So we're going to go 2, 3, 4, 5 and just kind of be crisscrossing Iceland to sightsee, but unless the tour guide tells us something, we're not really going to have anything informative, on that, because I don't have any details. I could tell you what name I found and what I put in, or at least try to butcher that name, but we'll see. Alright, well, I'm getting a little worried here. So now we're 8 kilometers. Like, I would think we've got to be right. We've got to be right there. Now we're 5 kilometers. Because pretty soon I'm sure it's going to turn around. And that's part of the problem. Although 6 we will just pass over. Because it's like, maybe I'll start turning. See, because we're turning now. But I don't think we've broken the geofence, so...
At our 4 o'clock, about 3 kilometers away, you'll see Vitzerkur, a stunning rock formation that looks like a giant dragon drinking from the sea.
Oh, wow.
This 15-meter-tall basalt formation is often referred to as the Dragon of the North, and is a popular spot for photographers and nature lovers alike. Legend has it that Vitzerkur was once a troll, who was caught out in the sunlight and turned to stone.
See, I don't know if it's that thing.
So if you ever feel like you're being watched while flying over, it might just be Vitzerkur keeping an eye on us. It's also a great spot for bird watching, as various seabirds nest in the cliffs. Just imagine the stories this rock could tell if it could talk. Next up, we'll be heading to Eriksjökull, which is 91 kilometers away at a heading of 180 degrees.
Alright, so my concern is it's no longer showing me that we're on a tour. She gave the right information. It did exactly what I was hoping it would do. Because literally what I read you, which was a famous rock formation off the coast, is what he provided. All that dragon stuff came from the AI and how SayIntentions does things. And so that's what I was hoping would happen. So that was incredible. I mean, that was awesome. Because that gave so much information. And it was really well delivered and really well done. Like, like we have a tour guide in the plane with us. So, so I'm not going to touch anything because I don't want it to fall off the tour. But again, I don't see that it's doing anything. I don't know, because I'm worried, like, she's given the point, but she might have already, like, queued that, but now it's not there. So I'm going to try, again, maybe I'll include it, maybe I won't. Sarah, load tour ID 688.
Tour ID 688 has been activated. Our first stop is Vitzerkur, which is 13 kilometers away, heading 360 degrees from here.
Sarah, can we go to stop 2 or waypoint 2 on tour 688?
We're currently at Vitzerkur, and the next stop is Eriksjökull, which is 78 kilometers away from here.
Archer 204 Bravo Tango departing runway 14 left crosswind departure. Mooney Tree 8 Charlie holding short runway 14. I'll hold until your departure roll is underway. Roger that, I'm rolling now. I'll advise when I'm clear of the runway.
Alright, so I'm going to leave it. It hasn't changed anything. Good news is it found the tour ID. because we were close to it. So before, when I tried to do that same thing, it said we're not near that, and then it was suggesting this other tour, but it did what I needed. So again, this will be a bit of a test, I guess, because I was expecting to see the next point, and it's not telling me anything about being on a tour, but I know when I'll be hitting it. And this one we're overflying, so there should be less of a chance that it wouldn't trigger, but we did trigger this. I mean, if nothing else for these, we'll do some other... Yeah, we'll manually do it, where I'll just read it like I have been. But no, this is exactly what I was hoping it would do. And a lot of the things are a lot less, there's less of this zigzagging, and so I don't know if that's part of the problem, is suddenly I'm like turning around and it gets confused, because it's like, why would someone do a tour like that? Although you could. I mean, if you're really bouncing around like a city with a helicopter tour or something, where you could just kind of spin on a dime. I mean, we still, we had to take a little bit of a swing around, but it worked okay, and we're back on track. But we'll see. We're 34 away. I was a little worried as we were coming, because I saw this rising up, and there's something in the haze up there for sure. So I'm guessing we might have to go above and so forth. Sarah, what can you tell me about the area we're flying over?
At our 3 o'clock, about 10 miles away, you'll see the stunning Eiríksjökull Glacier. This glacier is named after Eric the Red, the famous Norse explorer who is credited with discovering Greenland. Eiríksjökull is not only a beautiful sight, but also an important part of Iceland's natural landscape, covering an area of approximately 40 square kilometers. It's a popular spot for adventurous hikers and photographers who want to capture the breathtaking views of the surrounding mountains and valleys. Legend has it that Eric the Red named Greenland to attract settlers, but as you can see, Eiríksjökull is a reminder of the icy beauty that Iceland is known for.
Cool. All right, let me try one other thing here. Sarah, what's our next stop?
Our next stop is Hvitserkur, which is 40 kilometers away, heading 005 degrees from here.
Sarah, I'm headed to stop 2. Sarah, I'm headed to stop 2 on the tour.
We're headed to Eiríksjökull, which is 49 kilometers away from here.
Okay. So I'm hoping I can redirect it, and I think that is what it was. I had to key it in, so, I looked and I tried to spell it right. I do remember it's like some skill, whatever. So hopefully that's right. And again, 47 kilometers, 24 miles. That's better. I know we're not going to Hvitserkur, because that's where we were. But no, that also makes it interesting, because if we do have long legs, we can do things like what we did there, although, again, I don't know if then it kind of creates a confusion because it hadn't gone through that spot. I don't know. We'll see. Because in theory, once we hit the geofence, is what I'll call it, because that's really, in essence, what we're doing, is we're, in geospatial circles, because, some of what I do in real life in our organization, we do stuff like that, where if a vehicle crosses a certain area, on the GPS map, and you basically are putting and that's called a geofence, where you're geofencing, where you're saying, all right, a diameter of, say, 5 miles around this point, or you know, if you're being more accurate, hey, I'm you know, 500 feet or 200 feet around this point, so I know, like, say, when a vehicle is getting to a delivery spot or something, and then it would trigger something in the unit. So this is a similar process. So my hope is, like, once we cross that, this looks higher. Question is, how long do I wait? I mean, it doesn't look like it's supremely higher, but, you know, because the other problem we've got is the day is a little short here. I mean, the sun is up there, but being this far north, there's a little bit less daylight. So even taking off, I had to take off at 10:30 to have the light we had. So, and you could, I mean, you would almost say it's sunrise, sunset, you know. I mean, we're heading east, I guess, east-ish a little bit. So in theory, I guess the sun's still coming up. But I'm hoping that I don't have to adjust the time during the flight or anything, but we'll see. Because, yeah, just before she started to speak, I could see that something, like, changed in the interface, but it didn't, like, indicate that she was going to speak, but she did, and that was excellent. And so this point has nothing from the gentleman. So all I did was find a name off the map where he had put the waypoint and said, all right, and what it was it's a body of water or a lake that we'll be flying over. So I'm assuming Skjol or whatever is lake in Icelandic, and, you know, the name otherwise is then in front of it. But yeah, I'm trying to keep an eye out. Maybe I want to, let's see, let's zoom out. Oh yeah, it's red. So let's do a little bit here. And we're still, what, 11 miles away. But yes, I need that, so... Although that's odd, because it's almost like it's putting the spot on the mountain, which is not where I was, but... So hopefully we'll go over what I think we're going over, but... And that's the piece, like, I don't know that there's a way to observe that. Alright, so now we're at 5,200. We're still red, which at minimum means it's 500 feet. And the thing is, like, all this other stuff isn't... I guess some of it's starting to go away, but... You know, I want it to at least be green at a minimum, so... Because red, I could be below things. Until red goes away, it's definitely a problem. So the question is, that way? No, not necessarily seeing anything crazy. Yeah, so the real question, because it's like 6 miles, but... So maybe it's the name of a mountain. I thought it was a lake that I was picking, but maybe it's this mountain top or whatever. Alright, so I think at this point we're okay. So we're gonna level out. It's just hard to tell. I mean, we're gonna see over here at the RA, it's I think that's range above is what that stands for. So I've technically got about an hour and a half of time to get things done here. I'm hoping my flight will be able to wrap in that time. I mean, well, we have done about 100 miles of our 500 here. So hopefully she'll say something. Yeah, just because it's not working as cleanly as I'd like. Because, yeah, at this point, we have passed over the waypoint. Just giving it a little bit of time, in case we haven't quite tripped it yet. Sarah, can you tell us about our current waypoint?
We're currently at Eriksjökull, which is a stunning glacier named after Eric the Red, the Norse explorer who discovered Greenland. This glacier covers about 40 square kilometers and is a popular spot for hikers and photographers. It's a reminder of Iceland's icy beauty and has some fascinating folklore surrounding it.
Can you tell me more about that folklore?
In Icelandic folklore, Vitsarkur is said to be a troll who was caught out in the sunlight and turned to stone. The story goes that the troll was trying to drag a church into the sea. But as dawn broke, he was petrified into the rock formation we see today. This tale adds a mystical element to the already stunning landscape, making it a favorite among locals and visitors alike. So, if you ever feel like you're being watched while flying over, it might just be Hvitserkur keeping an eye on us.
Alright, but that's the other waypoint, so, alright. Sarah, where is our third waypoint?
Our third waypoint is Skjaldfandafljót, which is 192 kilometers away from our current position.
Sarah, we are headed toward our third waypoint.
We're headed toward our third waypoint, Skjaldfandafljót, which is a beautiful river in Iceland. This river is known for its stunning waterfalls and is a popular spot for fishing and kayaking. The Skjaldfandafljót River flows from the Vatnajökull Glacier and is famous for its crystal clear waters. It's also surrounded by breathtaking landscapes, making it a favorite among nature lovers and photographers. So, get ready to enjoy some picturesque views as we approach.
All right. So we can kind of make this work, it seems, which is good. It's just not as easy as one might think. Because, like I said, normally it should be just telling us, okay, on the interface, and it's not. So, just a little worried about that. So I'm just going to take a look and just make sure that that is, in fact, what we have. Yeah, see, I don't know that that's correct, because I think what it's talking about, yeah, is actually waypoint 5. But I'm wondering if that's because waypoint 3 doesn't have a name. Or we're closer to the other one, I don't know. So, like, waypoint 3 is, I just called it waypoint 3 because it just seems we're getting sent to an area. So I might just ask her that, and then once we turn, we'll see. Because then I think our fourth one will be another skjul or whatever. So again, I mean, there were, in theory, water points, but I see, I thought they were water, but they must be glaciers. Because then there's this Hofsjökull or whatever, is where we'll be heading in waypoint 4. But waypoint 3 really, again, doesn't have anything in particular. Let's just peek out here. So we've now crossed that whole glacier. We're on the other side. a lot of flat at this point, so... You know, and I don't know that I would say there's a lot of habitation down there. I mean, maybe there's a road here if someone was driving, but it looks pretty desolate. But yeah, I mean, I guess it is a roadway of some sort. So, under 50 miles. So at this point, no reason to go any higher. I'm half tempted to go a little bit lower, and maybe I will do that. So let's descend some, and then we'll at least be a little closer. But it's interesting, I suppose, I mean, the glaciers, I guess, being higher makes sense, because it would be a little cooler with some added height. Again, we're not using live weather so that we can see. But anyway, so we will do that and see what we can see. So I'm going to go back to my tour tuner. So I have had some people do, and it is showing times flown 1 now, which would be me. Because yeah, there's basically, yeah, nobody's really doing any of the others. They're all 0, which is unfortunate, but they are long compared to what some of the normal tours that are out there are. Again, I'm just putting it out there if people want to take advantage of it, and if they don't, obviously that's their choice. Their loss, I say, but... Alright. So, obviously we'll just kind of fly along here a little bit. Alright, well, what I should do, though, I forgot I'm not, like, descending to a level, because now I am starting to get green on everything, and then I'm going to be too low. Because, yeah, there's definitely some things there, but that may be further away. But again, now we'll really be able to tell, and yeah, it's just... This is an odd landscape, if you really look at it. It's like rock, but green, like it's almost moss. I don't know what that is, really. Alright, so I may have gone a little too low, but right now, everything is going to be to the left of me a little bit. That's going to be a little closer in height, and it's just the green, so that's not really any danger. But yeah, we have 70 miles, and then we basically, to get to Waypoint 4, we're basically going another 70. So it's in essence like 150, 100 miles across. Because basically from Waypoint 3 to then Waypoint 5, which will get us to a couple waypoints along the way. It's like 150 kilometers. Again, we're moving more east in that direction, because they're going to be going at a heading of 3.6 and 2.9. Based on those legs. But then the next one from 5 to 7, which again has a point in the center, looks like it's just barely over like 110. So it's definitely, you know, the island's thinning out at that point as we head further east. But yeah, I might have to just ask her when we get to the waypoint to tell us what we're flying over and see what she offers up. But I do I do like the fact that it just will tell you things, so that's great. Because it also, and it did use the rock formation, because again, I know the information, and this time with Waypoint 6, which is the next one that we have detail from in the Word doc narrative that the individual gave us, if they don't cover that and talk about it, I'll specifically obviously share what they had provided. But if they do, I'll simply let you know, well, this was the piece of information that was about that waypoint. Alright, so now what we need to do is just look for the line, and what I don't want to see is a line going through the red. And we may still see that. But we're 26 miles away, so maybe we'll be on the other side of some of those peaks, but I'm assuming that yes, it's these rises are higher than we are at this point. But it is beautiful. I mean, I kind of stunning was the word. I don't know that I'd say it's stunning. It's just, it's not what you'd expect this far north. And I've always heard, like, Iceland is beautiful. And I think they're one of the happiest populations on Earth. Even though they live up here, but I think some of that has to do with some of the social programs and just the security that Icelanders have. Because they're such a small country, I think the government, they've kind of created a government that will kind of give them a good social safety net if people need it and so forth. And so I think quality of life is a lot better, and that will make people happier. But yes, not the fastest plane in the world, but that's part of the allure. If I didn't have a deadline, it's just because I wanted to test this before my month got out and really have the opportunity potentially to do one more leg that is more direct touristy. So what I may do in the interim is then get the next 2 legs published, so that I can get rid of the potential issue of, well, is part of why I was having difficulty with it starting the numbered tour, as I was able to do in the middle of it, or after Fitzker, whatever it is. And that I did copy and paste from the document, so I'm pretty sure it's spelled right. It obviously was able to give us some information about it, so... Sarah, how far are we from our next waypoint?
We're currently 32 kilometers away from our next waypoint, which is Skjalfandaflöt.
But that's not what it is. So, the distance is right, but that's not the waypoint. Like, I don't know why it's doing that. Or the other one just looks darn like it, and I think that's what it is. I don't know. We'll see if waypoint 5 is not Skjalfandaflöt or whatever it said. Alright. So, yeah, we're not going all the way to the coast. Alright, looks like we do have a little bit of, well, I don't have to go that sharply, so let's just, whoops, I don't know how it's getting to the 1,000 ring, but, I need to be above that, so as we go through, so we'll be coming back, and I'm thinking overflying that is probably what I'm looking at. So again, because this is a full turnaround point, I'm going to let it turn around. Or start making the turn before I ask the question of, what can you tell us about this area? So just letting us enjoy the scenery here. Again, I know I'm staring more at the cockpit than whatever, but alright, so I'm going to level out here again at this point. And again, that will help with the speed and obviously easier to see when we're not just climbing. Alright, getting close. The problem is we may circle around and be in an area that gets us a little too close to that space.
Cub 123 Mike Whiskey departing southbound straight out.
Okay, and yeah, it's like telling us the airport, but there's letters that I'm not familiar with, so I'm not even going to try to to translate or read, or pretend I can read what it says there. But yeah, I just need it to stay enough away that we'll be clear of any potential danger. So if we look out, now you can see the coast out there, and we're getting a message probably that we're coming up on the waypoint, and then I assume again we'll be turning shortly. Alright, there we go, and we're not hearing anything, so I don't know that it's going to trip anything. Sarah, can you tell us about... Sarah, can you tell us about what we're flying over?
At our 2 o'clock, about 5 miles away, you can see the stunning Hofsjökull Glacier. This glacier is the largest in Iceland and covers an area of approximately 925 square kilometers. It's a significant source of water for the surrounding rivers and is known for its breathtaking ice formations and deep crevasses. Hofsjökull is also a popular destination for adventurous hikers and mountaineers looking to explore its rugged terrain.
We'll be okay.
The glacier has a fascinating history, as it has been shaped by
So
volcanic
we'll
activity over the
this.
centuries, making it a unique geological feature. So, keep your cameras ready as we glide past this icy giant.
I honestly think that's where we're headed. I think that's Waypoint 4. That sounds correct. Alright, so we went around the low point that could have gotten really close and stayed 2,000 feet above. Again, we'll get between 1,500 and 1,000 feet as we pass through there. So I'm guessing we're going to go there. But yes, I'm thinking we're headed kind of right there because we're next to something larger to the left. Because there's a glacier to the east of us, you know, kind of in this direction that we really can't see, that is very large, and I would assume that's the largest glacier that it's speaking of. And we'll be overflying that between waypoints 6 and 7. We'll be kind of crossing the eastern point of it. But we're, 200 miles away from that. Alright, so we have a nice toasty 71 in here, while it's 46 outside. So yeah, initially when I did the Sarah, can you tell us about, and then stop, I realized I was transmitting on the ATC frequency, which obviously I'm not looking to do that because Sarah's not there. She's on our intercom in the plane here. So again, 74 nautical miles for this, and then the next leg is 79 nautical miles after that. So at this point, I think I'm just going to let it get us there. So I'm not going to say much. I'll kind of put us, again, I need to see the terrain, so I'm going to leave things skewed a little bit in this direction so I can see that and not just eyeball it. But as we fly through, in essence here now, what will be the center of Iceland, kind of the getting to the midpoint here. Really more as we go from Waypoint 4 to Waypoint 5. I'll just let you enjoy the view. Sarah, how far are we from Waypoint 4?
We're currently 21 kilometers away from Waypoint 4, which is Hofsjökull.
Alright, so hopefully it will work. We'll see what happens. But I'm gonna mute myself for a bit again. Alright, well, clearly she didn't give us any update. Sarah, can you tell us about Waypoint 4?
Waypoint 4 is Hofsjökull, a massive glacier that covers about 925 square kilometers and is the largest glacier in Iceland. It's a significant source of water for the surrounding rivers and is popular for hiking and mountaineering. The glacier has been shaped by volcanic activity over centuries, making it a unique geological feature. It's a great spot for those who love adventure and stunning natural landscapes.
All right. Sarah, what's our next waypoint? Whoops, I did the wrong place. Sarah, what's our next waypoint?
Our next waypoint is Hofsjökull, which is 37 kilometers away from here.
Yeah, see, it keeps picking the nearby things, so don't want to do that. Sarah, what is waypoint 5?
Waypoint 5 is Skjálfandafljót, which is 106 kilometers away from our current position.
Alright. So we're kind of able to make it work that way. So worst case, like, I think this will work pretty well. Because as I said, it, you know, I like the fact too that you can ask her or the tour guide, because there are male tour guides too. There's 2 professional tour guides and one kind of funny, sarcastic one. So I don't know that for this case, you know, other than it'd be a little fun, but I think the sarcastic one just, you know, is always like telling you you're a terrible pilot, this, that, and whatever. But yeah, looks like things are getting a little bit higher here. What does it look like over there? Yeah, maybe. So we might have to keep rising because, again, we saw the points were like 11,000 feet, but I don't know why you'd want to go that high and why they have that in the flight plan that high up, 11,500, because, I mean, we'd be another 7,000 feet up. I mean, it wouldn't be nearly as interesting as just really flying low and going down a kind of, you know, at VFR levels. I mean, yeah, we are flying a route and a flight plan, and you know, we're letting it do autopilot and we're not manually flying it, but so I think I'm going to take a look because I wonder what that formation is that we're going by. So I'm going to ask Sarah and see if she can tell us. Sarah, what am I seeing out my window at about 10 o'clock?
At about 10 o'clock, you can see the stunning Lake Askja, which is a volcanic crater lake located in the Askja caldera in the central highlands of Iceland. This lake was formed during a volcanic eruption in 1875 and is known for its striking blue color and unique geological features. It's a popular spot for hikers and adventurers who want to explore the surrounding rugged terrain. The area is also home to the famous Askja volcano, which has had several eruptions throughout history, making it a fascinating site for both geology enthusiasts and nature lovers.
No, see, I know I don't want to ruin the tour, but I know that's not what that is, because, again, 10 o'clock is that way, so it's telling me something the other side, and we're not there yet. So, So I guess maybe it doesn't know which direction I'm headed, which seems odd. You would think it would. But anyway. Alright, so we're just, you know, we're not getting yellow yet. It looks like it is rising as we go that way, so we may make some changes as we go. It could go up a little bit, but we'll see. But as long as we stay green, we know it'll always be about 1,000 feet above ground level. So wow, yeah, that's the glacier over there. That was pretty cool how we went by it, but yeah, and it's interesting. I wonder if this was made I can't imagine these little streams carved that even over millennia, but maybe they did. That's just crazy. It's not like quite like the Grand Canyon or anything, but so yeah, I just don't know if these are the flows of like the water going from the melting glaciers and it just erodes over time and creates those valleys and so forth. Sarah, what are we flying over?
At our 2 o'clock, about 10 miles away, we're flying over the stunning Lake Askia, a volcanic crater lake formed during an eruption in 1875. It's known for its striking blue color and unique geological features, making it a favorite spot for
so that's
hikers
like
and
all
adventure
that's around
seekers.
here.
The area is also home to the Askia volcano, which has a fascinating history of eruptions. It's a beautiful sight, and if you squint hard enough, you might just see some adventurous souls exploring its rugged terrain.
Okay, so we got a little yellow dot there, but that's okay, because then we drop away. So we're just kind of over this plateau. Because, yeah, I don't think that's what we're dealing with here. But, yeah, 35 miles, so we're getting there. I've got 40 minutes. I've got some hope that we can get this flight done before I'm late. Again, if I gotta go a little longer, I'll go a little longer. I gotta obviously land the plane. Want to fly the route. Want to do the sightseeing. But it's interesting how, the island was, kind of empty and flat in the middle. Now we're kind of amongst some mountains again. And valleys, kind of as it's carved out, and so it definitely kind of changes as you go across, which is really cool. But yeah, it looks like because we're at 1,000, and again we'll hit some that'll be, I don't know if it's that little piece, and if we'll really pass over it. And it'll get below 1,000 and get into the 970 or something. We'll see. It may not quite do that right under us, but I think that's the spot that's yellow is kind of over there. So because we're at 1020, but now we're starting to pull away a little bit, and then I'm pretty sure we're past where it was yellow, and then everything ahead of us is more than 1,500 feet below, including these other areas that rise up. So we're heading close to the coast, and this will be our last run toward the north end here. And yes, the Waypoint 5 is whatever it said. It took me a long time, and it's a river, I believe. So what I picked was the name of the river that was heading out into the water there. At least I think that's what I did up there. Because the other point is, I think Waypoint 8 might not have any name. So it just will be more like, hey Sarah, tell us about what we're seeing. But, so yeah, that's extending out, as you can see, into the sea over there. Or the Arctic Ocean. I'm not sure what's up north of Iceland. But every leg then is less than 60 miles, the last 3 legs, and then obviously we've got the last little bit to go in and land as well. But we basically have probably 200 miles or so left of this tour of the 551. So we're definitely moving along pretty well. And not even halfway with the fuel, so that's good news there. So we're in good shape. But yeah, I think I'm sold on what I was hoping SayIntentions could do for us, because nothing else, even if it kind of hiccups like it is, where it's just not automated, at least it can do things. And again, I am able to ask it, like, hey, for the waypoint. It's just the problem is, like, telling other people, like, if suddenly it stops working, what they need to do. But again, it's something maybe we can ask the developers over time, like, hey, why is it doing that, or whatever. But yeah, this is a stunning little tour here, I'll tell you that. I mean, never been to Iceland, and this is kind of the next best thing, right? Just virtually getting to explore it from the air, at least. But yeah, I think there's less than 500,000 people in all of Iceland, so I think it's pretty small, if I recall. So they've got an area, but it's not a huge one. And again, the airport over here on this other end is untowered, so like I don't know if like everybody's over there in Reykjavik and then the rest of Iceland is just this wilderness. It's kind of a little bit like Australia, I guess, where you've got people all around the coast in different areas, like Perth and Sydney and stuff like that. But toward the center, it's more of that outback and just a lot of open space again. Don't know. All right, so you can see the next flight path heading out there. That leg is 59 nautical miles, and again, we'll be turning before we get all the way to the waypoint, because it is pretty sharp turn. We're going from heading of 29 degrees like we are now to 168. So we'll be continuing to move east, but we'll be 12 degrees off of straight south, versus being obviously almost 30 degrees off of straight north. And again, so we have this river going here, and basically, yeah, we're going to go kind of toward the mouth of the river is where the waypoint is at, but because of how things are set, we might not obviously quite get that far. So again, we're 8 miles away. It probably will start turning at like 1 or 2 miles away, so I'm going to wait a little bit before we have her start talking to us. But I think, again, I'm going to have to prompt her, because it just isn't sharing things. And like I said, I'm wondering if it had something to do, because it was able to load it the second time, so I might need to be early enough away. I don't know. We'll see.
765 Alpha 1, 3 mile, final runway 22.
Again, we're on CTAF, so we're going to have people like self-reporting like that. It seems like we're way closer if I look at the map or whatever, but not quite. So now we're kind of in. So it does look like there's something, maybe a couple farms or something there, not sure. But yeah, we've got obviously this inlet to the ocean there. Sarah, tell us about Waypoint 5.
Waypoint 5 is Skjálfandafljót, a beautiful river known for its stunning waterfalls and crystal clear waters, located just 5 kilometers from our current position.
Skyhawk 765 Alpha 1, clear of Q2.
There we go. So that does look like, yeah, we've definitely got some buildings down there. So there are some people up here. It seems, now I guess it trickles out there, but with the way I'm like, is it separated from the ocean? But not really. Alright, so we're gonna circle around here, and then we're gonna head to Waypoint 6, which again does have some information that I put in as text, but again, because it won't trigger automatically, we know we're going to have a little bit of an issue. So you can see 57 nautical miles. Obviously, it'll start ticking away a little bit faster once we really get on and are heading straight down, because right now we're turning a bit. Sun's getting a little higher in the sky, so we should be okay. Again, this far north, I'm sure it just never rises very high. It just kind of goes across. But again, we're heading, now I'm sure we're headed straight south 180, and then our heading will turn. Yeah, you can see we're more at like 190 or maybe even 200 at that point. So yeah, because S is coming up now, south is coming up, and then we'll be rotating on. It's just obviously trying to go make the intercept now. Alright, we're gonna goose the throttle a little bit, get a couple kilometers extra. So I'm not quite on the red line, or I got a little bit of room there, so we'll see if we can gain some speed or not. So far, yes, we've gone a couple knots up. Probably not a noticeable amount of difference, but see, I'm not sure if we'll turn a little bit yet. In theory, we should. But right now, it looks like we're not. But it might be because we haven't like fully intercepted the path yet. There we go. Again, we don't have to turn a lot, but obviously, we need to get on to 168. So you can see we're 169. Or that's where it's trying to line up, I think. I think that's telling me where it's going to be. So yeah, it looks like we're 171. And I'm sure that's, whatever wind or magnetic north deviation or whatever it is. Alright, so I'm going to mute myself for a little bit again, because there's not much I can say right now. And as we get closer to Waypoint 6, then I'll be back. Alright, so we are coming up on Waypoint 6. As you can see, we're about 10 miles away. See a little bit of blue there. Everything appears yellow, other than that little bit of red, so I think we're going to be okay. I assume, again, she's not going to jump in here. Sarah, can we join Tour 688 at Waypoint 6? Let's see if this works. I don't think it knows what to do with it, so we'll just head on over here. And we can see a bit there. Sarah, what can you tell us about Waypoint 6?
Waypoint 5 is Skjálfandafljót, a beautiful river known for its stunning waterfalls and crystal
Sarah,
clear
stop.
waters, located just 5 kilometers from our current position.
Sarah, what can you tell us about Waypoint 6?
Waypoint 6 is Lake Askja, a volcanic crater lake located in the Askja caldera in the central highlands of Iceland, known for its striking blue color and unique geological features. It was formed during a volcanic eruption in 1875 and is a popular spot for hikers and adventure seekers. The area is also home to the Askja volcano, which has a fascinating history of eruptions, making it a great site for both geology enthusiasts and nature lovers.
Just want to make sure we don't... Alright, well, I can actually level out. But there you go. I don't know that we have the real stunning blue color here, but it's still pretty cool to know what that is and that it's here. But yeah, volcano. And the caldera of a volcano is basically where things would have erupted from. I assume since it's filled with water, it's kind of sealed up. I mean, I assume any volcano can suddenly become active again. But, that's the situation. So, 53 miles to Waypoint 7. Again, I don't think either of these have a name. So, we'll just kind of get the information. I don't know that we can drop down much, but yeah. So that's just a big feature kind of in the middle, like they said, in the Central Highlands. Not, you know, a little bit rough, jagged volcano, so, you know, maybe when it erupted it was kind of not as you would normally expect, fast moving or something, and it obviously didn't build itself up super high. So, definitely interesting. But I think this will be now our last... I think it's going to be a glacier that we'll be overflying, so that's what you're starting to see there. Where I said we'd hit the eastern point. Now, I would say this appears on the map to be the largest glacier. So, kind of, hopefully we won't freeze anything, but I'll pull this back over. But this is where we're at. And this looks a lot bigger than this one, which said this was the largest glacier in Iceland. But maybe it's like a bunch of glaciers put together, and so technically it's not the biggest glacier? I don't know.
Piper Cherokee 64 Foxtrot entering left downwind for runway 22, full stop.
Cherokee 64 Foxtrot currently on a 3-mile final for runway 22. Can you extend your downwind leg?
I'll extend my downwind leg to give you more spacing.
Thanks.
Alright, so it looks like, oh, what the heck just happened there? Maybe it's been doing that the whole time. I don't know what that is, what that gauge does, but whatever it's doing, it just keeps, it's like radar, I don't know. Is it like a radar signal that we have? That is odd. I don't know. Because now it's not doing it. There's a mentor, and, you know, I could ask them about these gauges. That's another thing you can do with SayIntentions. Maybe that's how I learn those obscure features. Although I'm sure I could look it up in the manual for the plane. I just don't even know what it's called. It looks like radar altimeter or something. I don't know, because obviously this is the altimeter. Radial altimeter? I don't know. Like, maybe that's what gives me the terrain thing. And so it was just scanning, and it scans period. I don't know. I'm not even going to guess. We'll just leave it. I mean, the good news is, like, we haven't had to go up to 11,000 feet. I mean, we are going to go kind of back along somewhere over there. I don't think we're going to be going at that point. Again, we've got stuff out, I guess, over there that's a little higher. That's part of the glacier. Yeah, that's like one edge of it. So it basically goes along. It's like snow blindness, man. It's crazy how bright it is, but you know, you can start to see we're getting some areas, but we're still you know, probably 10 miles away from really being well over it. But yeah, we have this, you know, a little over 30 miles to finish this leg, and then our final leg to our final waypoint, 55 nautical miles, and then we probably have 20 to 30 nautical miles to get to the point where we then line up for the runway and then come in. So, you know, at most another 50 nautical miles after that. So yeah, it's taken a bit. You know, it'll probably take me a bit longer than I was hoping, but not much I can do. Plane will only fly so fast, and I definitely want to keep it, you know, keep the series authentic with what we're trying to do. So, don't want to deviate, but as I said, it was more trying to squeeze this in rather than knowing I had a lot of clear space. And again, what I may be able to do is leg 10 is just going across the Norwegian Sea. So that's another point to point that we're just flying. So, you know, I'm coming up on a weekend, and maybe I can work on leg 10 and get to leg 11 and see if that'll work better.
10 miles to the north, setting up for a left downwind runway tree 1.
All right. But yeah, we've basically got to cross this entirely, because we get, according to the map, we're going to get near the coast and kind of on the other side of this glacier. So, you know, I'm thinking we're going to drop down a little bit. I mean, we're not going to drop down because then we're going to turn to the left, basically about 90 degrees. So we're going, I think, 149 is the heading, and then we're going to go to 42. So basically 107, I guess. So a little little bit of a sharper turn, I guess. Don't know how I describe it. But either way, where we're flying over, we always have more than 1,500 miles of clearance, so that's always good. But now we're getting over, you know, where it's really starting to be frozen up a little bit more. And again, I'm thinking, I don't know, that, yeah, I guess the volcano was there. Like, that seems taller, so you'd think that that would logically be it, but now that really looks like something, but I don't know what that is. Let's see what Sarah can tell us. Sarah, what are we flying over?
At our 2 o'clock, about 10 miles away, we're flying over the stunning Lake Askia, a volcanic crater lake formed during an
That's all
eruption
that's
in
over here.
1875.
So-
It's known for its striking blue color
And
and
it's
unique
way more than
geological
10
features,
10
making it a
kilometers
favorite
away,
spot
so
for
I don't
hikers and
understand.
adventure seekers. The area is also home to the Askia volcano, which has a fascinating history of eruptions, making it a great site for both geology enthusiasts and nature lovers.
Let's see if I ask her specifically about Waypoint 7. Sarah, what can you tell us about Waypoint 7?
Waypoint 7 is Hornafjordur, a beautiful fjord located about 29 kilometers from our current position, known for its stunning landscapes and rich marine life.
Sarah, is this a glacier we're flying over?
No, we're currently flying over a river called Skjalfandafljót, which is known for its stunning waterfalls
No,
and
we're
clear
not.
waters. It's a beautiful
That's
sight.
at the other end. So, it's not perfect, but she tries. But yes, the other thing is Hornia, but because I think I did find something that was called that, and but again, basically, Iceland is all just stunning landscapes and natural beauty for hiking. So I think we have learned that about Iceland. But obviously, yes, we're here. That coast just kind of goes out to that point. Let's see, doesn't look like we have to go any higher. I mean, at this point, we're beyond 2,500 feet, because that's when it will start to tell us stuff. But this sure looks like a glacier. Like, if I'm looking at what I was flying over in Greenland and stuff, very, very similar. And I'm guessing we're going to see stuff like this in Norway, too. But getting down 9 nautical miles, as you can see. And we, again, not as sharp. We're not doing like a 160-degree turn or something back. So I'm thinking we might get closer to that waypoint before we actually have to turn. But yeah, what I'm hoping is leg 11 maybe has more detail. I haven't looked ahead. I don't know. Part of the fun for it for me is like I don't want to know what we're going to see ahead of time. Obviously, to get ready for these, I will need to do that. But I can't imagine I'm going to need things in and set up more than a day ahead of time. So, you know, what I may end up doing is maybe tonight go ahead and get the other couple built. And then I'll be ready. And then certainly whenever I get to leg 11, it will have had enough time to marinate, and then I can see if I'm able to get a better result than I was here. Like, because I still don't know why it unloaded, other than, again, I thought it was in this Icelandic volcano and something tour that was there, and obviously we were not, so it might have been because it realized, okay, you're not near any waypoint for this other tour, I'm just going to unload it, but yet it still knows when I'm saying which waypoint, like it's following my waypoints, so. But yeah, I didn't see how close we got, but now you can see 55. We're obviously turning, not really getting any shorter in our turn right now because we're not heading in that direction. We're more turning, but everything again looks pretty low. And then yeah, we're going, it's a pretty rough coastline, a lot of inlets, a lot of, you know, so it's kind of mountains getting to the water there. So it's going to be a little bit more challenging. But again, we're going around, as you can see, to like 43. And then, you know, we'll turn a little bit to the right once we get up to that waypoint, and then that'll take us off the coast and over to the airport. And we'll see. Maybe I'll decide to land right where we're at. Because I can probably... Let's see if I can go down another... I mean, I'll descend at 1,000 feet, but let's see if I can get myself close to 5,000 before things start showing up. Because obviously, if I'm down there, so again, it looks like... I don't know what I was seeing, maybe this. But it looks like something was kind of sticking up there a little bit, so I'm like... You know, because if I can get down to 4,000, that would be even better, but obviously I've got to be careful. Because some of these are turning red out there, so we do have peaks that we will be lower than. And yes, we do not overfly where it would show the glacier on the map anywhere, so... Okay, and now it's finally starting to turn back, so yes, we're already kind of showing up green there, so I probably want to go ahead and just flatten myself out. And that should be good, because then we're basically 1,500 to 1,000 feet above the landscape there. There'll be a little bit of a river. I'm assuming it's over there in that valley. And that'll be, you know, a good ways westish, northwest of us. Looks like we got a little bit of a river coming out here. But, you know, as you might imagine, I'm sure the water is draining and trickling off the land all the time. You know, heading down to sea level. But obviously dropping down 1,000 feet, we got a lot of those peaks near us down below. Or down closer to where we're at. Because it does look like something's there, but I don't really see anything clearly on the map as to that's there as a map feature. Sarah, what is Waypoint 8?
Waypoint 8 is a beautiful natural landmark called Hvitserkur, which is located 285 kilometers away from our current position. It's a fascinating rock formation that resembles a giant troll, and it's said to have been formed by the forces of nature over thousands of years. Legend has it that Hvitserkur was once a troll who was turned to stone by the rising sun, and now it stands as a unique feature along the coastline.
That's our first waypoint.
It's a popular spot for photographers and nature lovers alike, who come to capture its striking appearance against the backdrop of the ocean.
Okay. So, it's behaving less and less successfully as we go along. So, I'm better off saying, what are we flying over? Because, yeah, there is like a town or something, but... But we're down to, what, 35 nautical miles? Technically, about now is when I would have liked to have been done. So, I might have another hoping not another half hour by the time I land, but it could be. I mean, again, I won't slow down too terribly much before. I'm just kind of coming in because this plane will slow pretty quickly.
Cub 123 Mike Whiskey, setting up for a 45-degree entry runway, tree 1.
Yeah, speaking of, I'm not quite sure which runway. I think there's only 2 runways to come in on, so I guess now that I've zoomed in, this is on the map, but yeah, it's small. Obviously, it's nowhere near as large as some of the other frozen spots. But that was the highest point in the area, but I think we're going to have some more before we head out to the shoreline, so I'm just going to stay at this level for now. And I think that's again why they normally would recommend you come in over the water, because then you can just come in and land, because I think the airport is close to the coast, if not right on the coast. So that's the thing, it's not like I have to go all the way out as far as the ILS approach is, because I'm not coming in with a massive jet or something like that. I mean, but that's the nice thing with the TBMs, though, is with this extra setting where you can run the engine at a higher level, you can go a good amount quicker, because we did ultimately gain 5 knots, which again is not much in the grand scheme of things when I'm already at like 220 or whatever, but alright, so we got like a little green coming in here, so some of this is getting close, but what do we got? 20, a little under 25 to go. And it doesn't really give me what we're turning in on. I don't know, maybe I will just try to land, because we do have water on this side too. So we'll see what it looks like, because obviously if I can come in and land from this direction, like it'll save us many minutes. I don't know how many, but it'll be a good amount of minutes. Because yeah, it's like, is this airport on an island? I don't understand what I'm seeing. Oh no, I see the airport. Okay, so now I see where it's taking me. We'll have to see, because I mean, yeah, I think I will have almost 10 miles from Waypoint 8 to the airport, so I mean, in theory, I should have time to align and get in there. Hard to tell for sure. But yeah, it's an interesting valley, for sure. And that's the thing, I think we have to drop down and then kind of curve around, like it won't be the most obvious landing point. Let's see if I have a runway number that I was doing. So there's 2 runways available, so we have 26 and 08. So yeah, I can come in basically 08, so it's just 1 runway. Just obviously 2 directions. You can always come in one way or the other. I don't think we're going to get that far, but we might. We might just get beyond that. Because I think this valley, I think I know what it is. And there's another ridge or two beyond that, so we might have to get past that. And again, we're 12 miles, so yeah, we might just go past that. And the problem is then there's a ridge beyond that that we kind of, I mean, I kind of could thread the needle somewhere. I don't know. A little bit of mountain flying like I was doing in the Alps, which I wasn't saving on the channel, but that was some of what I was doing for Firefly Air, as I was doing something like in Austria and Switzerland, and so I was landing at places like Innsbruck and things like that, which were pretty challenging, to be honest. So So yeah, this is before that. Basically, we're on the other side of this is where the airport is. But yeah, this is the valley. And then there's a ridge, and then there's like another ridge over there. I mean, worst case, I can try it, and if it just seems to be a little crazy, I can try to do something else. Like, obviously, I don't want to land insanely, because that's not fun and wouldn't make sense. Sarah, tell us about what we're flying over.
We're currently flying over the Skjaldfjallafljót River.
We are not.
Which is known for its stunning waterfalls and crystal clear waters. It's a beautiful sight, and it's about 5 kilometers away from us.
All right. Sarah, can you tell us about the airport we're going to land at?
Birk-Binf Airport, BIF, is a small regional airport located in Iceland, primarily serving the nearby town of Fáskrúðsfjörður. It has a single runway and is known for its stunning views of the surrounding mountains and fjords. The airport is a great starting point for exploring the beautiful East Fjords region of Iceland, which is famous for its dramatic landscapes and outdoor activities. It's a popular spot for travelers looking to experience the natural beauty of Iceland up close.
So I'm going to stop dropping. And again, see, I had it do something weird. But let's see. So now this will turn me in, and in theory it should send me through the gap that I need to be in. And then basically, yeah, we need to go around here. So that's the thing. I need to get through the mountains there, which I should be fine doing. I'm gonna, again, we're gonna not try to make it too difficult, so I'm gonna get myself back to normal flaps here. Gotta be careful. If it starts turning yellow, I'm gonna want to wait. I think it's the right airport, at least, that it told me about. Let's see. So maybe we slow down a little bit on our descent, and then we play. What is it doing? What is it doing? Alright, we're definitely gonna flatten this out. Because now suddenly we're getting a little uncomfortably close. I mean, I know it's just 1,000 feet, but... Alright, so we are gonna try this. So let's see. I go here, pull things back, because I don't need much, but yeah, we're 6 miles away at this point. And I think we've got the airport there. So, okay, I'm gonna literally pull everything back here. So yeah, So that's why it's the challenge, but I'm not sinking that much. Calm down. Alright. So we don't want to slow down too much. We'll get flaps out. I should be able to come in this way. That'll save me a little bit of flying around and all of that. Because yeah, this is a big valley, so there's a lot of room here. I mean, not a ton, but enough. Okay. I can't tell if I have my wheels down, but yes, okay, I do. Alright, and there it is.
Sink, don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
We're not sinking, but we want to be aligned. See, but that's the thing, like if we came in from the water, that would be simpler. Because you could just line up. But little village down here, you can see some traffic moving on the road. Alright, I don't want to slow down too much, but obviously the slower we can go. I always hate that sound because it's like, am I stalling? Is it the stall alarm? But it's not. It's just the outer marker. And then we'll probably have another sign for the inner marker. But yeah, it's only a 3,000-foot runway. So it's a small airport, which obviously that's partially why we use these GA aircraft for these, because otherwise it's just it'd be impossible to land at some of these fields. And this one's not terrible. I mean, 3,000 is not nothing, so. We did a little bit of a bounce, but that'll work. We are down, and we are now on the other side of Iceland, and then we'll be heading out over the water and crossing that Norwegian Sea when we're together next time for leg 10. But hopefully you've enjoyed it. These guys are waiting for us. Look at that. So we'll do what we need here. All right. Get me in, and there we go. All right. Thank you. So we are here. We'll get our flaps up, and we're pretty good. Sarah, thanks for the tour.
You're welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying the tour. If you're ready for the next adventure, we can head towards Fittsirker, which is about 323 kilometers away from here.
Let's not. That's where we started. All right. So, it's a heck of a view, I'll tell you that. Think about living here. There's houses over there. Pretty beautiful place. I mean, it might be pretty miserable in the winter, you know, when it's really snowy and whatever, but it's pretty nice looking. So as always, if you've enjoyed this, haven't dropped a like, or are not a subscriber, please consider those things. But we've got another leg under our belt, and more importantly, we playing around with the tour feature of SayIntentions, and I think it'll be a welcome addition to this series. So I'm pretty happy with the result. But it would be great to get one more that's maybe a little more normal and see if we can make things work even smoother before I have to make a decision in a couple weeks. So I will see you next time.